How many times in your life have you stood right in the middle of a crowded room and felt entirely alone? Do you remember that shattering moment when, with dozens of people around you laughing, talking, and touching you, you were completely on your own in the deep and impassable darkness of your soul? Perhaps you thought this feeling was just a temporary bout of loneliness, that this void would be filled once you found the right people. But I must tell you a far more ruthless truth from which you cannot escape. You are mistaken. Arthur Schopenhauer, the darkest, most uncompromising and most honest philosopher in history, looked into the face of modern man and shattered his greatest illusion with a single sentence. Man is condemned to solitude. This is not a punishment, a stroke of bad luck, or a temporary phase. This is existence itself. So why do we resist this truth every single day? Why do we try to seek refuge in another, knowing full well that we will get hurt, that we will be broken, and that ultimately we will be buried once again in that deep silence? Human relationships, according to Schopenhauer, resemble the tragedy of hedgehogs trying to warm themselves on a freezing winter day. On a cold winter night, a group of hedgehogs huddle together to keep from freezing. They want to benefit from each other's body heat and shield themselves from the lethal cold. Yet the moment they draw close, the sharp and merciless quills on their backs begin to pierce one another's skin. They feel pain, flinch, and pull back in agony. The cold closes in again. The fear of death forces them to gather once more. But as the distance shrinks, the quills pierce deeply yet again. The hedgehogs swing back and forth like a painful pendulum between freezing to death and being wounded by each other's quills, until they find that uncanny middle ground, which is both warm and distant, where they will not hurt one another. Human relationships are precisely this middle ground. We too are like those hedgehogs. To escape the deep existential cold within us, the frost of meaninglessness and nothingness, we take refuge in the warmth of another. We build friendships, we fall in love, we mingle with the crowds. Yet before long, the sharp quills of the people we took shelter with begin to pierce our souls. Betrayals, lies, disappointments, and the invisible weights created by expectations. As we hurt, we pull back. We take refuge in the cold yet safe dungeon of our own solitude. But there too, another enemy awaits us, the freezing cold of boredom and loneliness. Society promises us that we can step outside of this pendulum. It whispers to us that once we find the right person, once we reach that perfect soulmate, all the quills will vanish. This is the sweetest yet most dangerous lie that the modern world sells us. For man, by nature, is nothing but a selfish will. In Schopenhauer's philosophy, the universe is the playground of a mindless, aimless, and insatiable blind desire, namely, the will to live. When you love another or seek refuge in a friendship, you are actually the prisoner of that blind will. The person before you is no different. When two selfish, insatiable wills come together, what is established is not a true union, but merely a temporary partnership of self-interest. The ordinary man is scared to death of seeing this truth. Because of this, he wears masks. Social life is a masquerade. Everyone walks the streets wearing their most affectionate, understanding, and virtuous mask. But behind the masks, in those dark rooms, everyone is calculating their own self-interest, their own struggle for survival. Schopenhauer says, when you speak to the vast majority of people, you realize they are only thinking about what they think of you. We feel a need for the other person to approve of us, to love us, because we lack the courage to fill that bottomless abyss within ourselves on our own. So, is there no way to escape this bondage? Schopenhauer offers us a way out, but this path is not a trail that the weak and the crowds can walk. This path belongs to those who dare to wear solitude not as a punishment, but as a crown. The world is the voice of shallow people and noise. The person who flees from the noise and turns inward confronts, at first, that silence which inflicts pain. But beyond that silence lies a freedom he can find nowhere else. A man can be entirely himself only when he is alone, says the philosopher. If you do not love solitude, it means you do not love freedom. For every moment spent with another is a compromise made from your own self, your own truths, and your own silence. To conform to society, you are forced to file down the most precious corners of your soul, to destroy yourself just to be like everyone else. Most people are terrified of being alone, because when they are alone, they are left face to face with themselves. And the landscape they see inside is so empty, so shallow, and so frightening that they throw themselves into the most worthless artificial relationships just to escape that void. Just to avoid seeing that inner desert, they waste hours in loud bars, in meaningless conversations, beside people who contribute absolutely nothing to them. For them, solitude is nothingness. Yet for a deep mind, solitude is more precious than the richest library, more valuable than the most magnificent palace. Genius is nourished in solitude. Great thoughts, jarring works of art, and the most honest slaps one can deliver to one's own existence can only blossom within that deep silence. Solitude is a sacred temple where the soul heals itself, cleansed of the dirt of the outside world. Now ask yourself honestly, did you truly love those people, those friends, those lovers in your life? Or did you keep them in your life simply because you were terrified of confronting that silent beast within yourself? The greatest harm a person can inflict upon you is to tear you away from the noble peace of your own solitude and lock you inside the cheap and noisy prison of the crowds. Schopenhauer was not a mad recluse when he spent most of his life in a room with a dog and a few inanimate objects. He was a sage who had solved the brutal game of hedgehogs, managing to distance himself far enough so that the quills would not hurt him. He preferred enduring the pain of the freezing cold over being riddled with holes by another's quills. For he knew that there is only one thing a human truly possesses in this world: their own consciousness, their own mind, and their own silence. If you do not wish to suffer in this world, you must reduce your expectations of people to zero. Do not expect them to understand you, to value you, or to share the same depth as you. They are merely fulfilling the demands of their own nature, their own will to live. Just as you do not get angry at a lion for tearing a gazelle apart, do not get angry at a human for acting selfishly or leaving you halfway. This is their nature. The mistake is not theirs, but in your childish naivety that expects them to be angels. Solitude is a room locked from the inside. The key to that room is in your hands alone. The silence inside may suffocate you at first. The walls may close in on you. But the moment you learn to stay in that room, to make friends with that silence, no external noise, no betrayal, and no fear of being left alone can destroy you. Instead of being deceived by the fake and fleeting warmth of the world and joining the deadly dance of the hedgehogs, discover the sun within yourself. Remember, you came into this world alone, and you will draw that final breath alone once again in your deep, impassable solitude. Why then are you still searching for proof of your own existence in the hands of another? Yalnızlığa mahkumsunuz, and this condemnation, if you have the courage, will be your greatest and most shattering freedom in this world.